question I had is the modified that we had this year, because of the water department, we've actually worked on that a little bit in a sense in the past. I mean, is there any easy solve for that? I mean, have you ever seen other communities actually somehow making that better?
Well, the problem you have is that they are on the calendar year and you're on the June. So to change it would be, more than just having all the auditing done in June. You actually had to change, the way they plan for their year, the way they report to the state. So I can understand that there's a lot of hurdles that you would have to go through to get to the point where you would include them. And to me, if you're getting the information that you need, you're getting their financial statements, it's your decision as a board to say, we can live with that. Or, no, we don't wanna live with that, we wanna, have their information behind the curve.
I guess at the end of the day, does it affect our ability to bond money or borrow money if we have a modified audit report on either side? Is there some factor there that people look at? I mean, at the end of the day, if it's just the idea that we have to add two accountings together and make sure it all works, that's fine. But I mean, is there a factor somewhere along the line that could hurt us?
You would have to ask your, if you were going in front of Moody's or standing in boards and getting a rating for, doing your own bonds internally, then they would ask those kinds of questions of you. And if you had everything in a comprehensive report and an unmodified opinion, you could hand to them, it would be easier and cleaner. Would the end result change? Maybe, maybe not, because they're gonna ask you, would like to see the water department financial statements, and they're gonna get all of the information they need to determine what your rating should be and what your interest rate should be on the bonds. Jessica, have you ever had any issues with, financing because of your modified opinion? No. So,
That's good. I mean, I haven't seen, I was just curious if there is any benefit to the idea of moving forward that way, that's all.
we have to report it to you because that's
It is
the
what
way
it
it's
is.
reported.
Yep.
And so it's an informational thing, and whether you decide to, make a change or not is really, policy decision.
Perfect, thank you. We do appreciate it. I know this question comes up every year, so. Anything else from council? If not, thank you very much. We do appreciate it, and
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see you again. Getting back onto the original agenda, we all set with the, we all good with everything? Good enough. Next item, please.
Public hearing of vitular license for bootleggers.
I'd like to open that public hearing for bootleggers. Any takers for the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. Next item, please.
Is audience participation. At this time, those in the audience who wish to address the council may come forward to address items or issues that are on the agenda for this meeting. Please use the microphone at the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Open audience participation. One more time, audience participation. Seeing no takers, we'll get to the next item, please.
Audience participation response
There is no response tonight. Next item, please.
is consent agenda. Order 2013-165 to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2013, an off-premise catering permit, Chickadee of Lewiston, and a vitulers license for bootleggers.
Entertain a motion.
Make the motion to accept.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the consent agenda?
Order passed, 7-0.
Now, at this point, I would ask permission of the council to actually move up the executive session at this point in time, so we can go through that. So we'll be ready for items when they come up. Is council in favor of that? I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session. This would be for an executive session 2013-70 order for labor negotiations for the Teamster Local 340 Sergeant Unit. Entertain a motion to go in?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? We'll go in this room right over here. We shouldn't be very long. We'll be back shortly.
sideways anyway. Mr. Wilder down at the voting area. Watching to see what happens in Portland with the marijuana thing. I do not favor that at all. There's enough idiots out driving around North as it is without being smoking grass while they're texting on top of that.
I don't imagine that pass.
Well, you know, if I were the DEA, I would let him pass it. And I'd come in with about 4 or 5 loose and a half's worth of droopies, and I'd just simply go right down the street and gather them all up and knock them all. Possession. Of course, politically, that would probably be the career, but still.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
I don't know it. I've heard of it. smiling self today. Is everything all right? Oh,
I still can't get mine to print off my computer. I don't know
What's up
why.
with that?
I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't really care. It's all messed up. I don't know the problem.
How'd you like this one? Oh, you haven't read this one probably.
yeah, I'm gonna sit. You got two big guys.
I'm sure it's.
I know.
Kelly Park being
why I'm
moved
worried
by
about it.
Parks Department.
I heard. Somebody told me about this.
I heard about that.
And Roger, look.
Yeah, no, you didn't get the right shit.
You went and cleaned it all up.
Gotta get the right shit.
I know. It's my fault for not getting here early.
You change the chairs around?
No,
I didn't change the chairs.
but I didn't. I swear.
Yeah. What's that?
Make a motion to come in.
We would have that left there.
You can do it here too.
Need a motion to actually wrap up the executive session, which we have.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? That's good.
Second.
Okay, we're back in regular meeting now. Next item, please.
Council orders, resolutions, and ordinances. Order 2013-166, winter sand bids.
I'll adjust that. We had originally offered or awarded the bid to Premier Development, Kelly Park. The sand bids, after several sieve tests, product that got delivered was not up to specs after a week of trying. And so we moved down to the second lowest bidder, which was Carl Houston, and awarded the bid to him. And his product was tested, and it was exactly what we were looking for, and we have taken delivery on that. So,
All right.
that's where we stand.
Any questions from council before we move forward? Next item, please.
Order 2013-167, property tax foreclosures.
In your packets, I gave you a list of the lien properties that we have coming up in December. You can see there's quite a long list of people. The total amount should be in the back. It's 200 and some odd thousand. The total owed for the current year that we have coming up is the second half. That won't go to lien, but the 2011, 2012 will be going to lien in December. That is quite a long list. It's well over 100,000, 180,000. What we need to be concerned about is the ones that we do have lien, which is what the paper I handed out to you tonight, a little spreadsheet. This is a list of foreclosed properties that we have. The properties on the first section, those are all mostly trailers. There are some that are not in the parks that have their own property. And as of today, we have one person has come forward, kind of must have read the agenda because they know we were talking about this tonight, and has would like something to make payments. The 22 Sabatis Creek, that one I think has been taken care of. There are several others on this list that there's no way they'll be able to pay. They owe quite a bit of money. It'll take them many years to catch up. And the ones on the bottom where it says land and building, those are regular homes on property. These have foreclosed, and these people have, remember we sent out a letter to them about several months ago about us foreclosing and on matured liens. And these are the ones that have not responded at all. And the process is that we send them a letter and we tell them that the town is taking possession of their properties. unless they come forward and pay in full. Otherwise, we will put the properties up, and you decide at that point whether, how you want to handle it, putting it out to bid or selling it with a realtor. But this will clean up quite a bit of back taxes on this one. So, it's up to you at this point, how you want to move forward, and just, I guess, just vote for, have me start the process. I definitely do not recommend that we take possession of the trailers in the parks. That's more of a liability. I haven't had a chance to check on those, but usually they're fairly old and they don't have a heck of a lot of value. You can see, like on the top one, it has a value of $9,800. If that person has a homestead exemption, we're not collecting any money on taxes for that. So,
Pretty much what we have is, if you look at the list that was in our packets, there's actually 5 pages there, both sides of people that actually have lien. I mean, the lien process happens automatically regardless. If you go through a year without actually paying taxes, it's actually automatically put on it. The list that actually Steve has given you on that single paper is basically just this isn't just one. Some of these are actually 2 to 3 year, if not longer. So basically, they actually have not attempted to pay in the last couple of years. We had actually sometimes go give Steve I would say the direction to actually send out a registered letter. I would assume that none of these actually have any liens with the bank.
no, none of those have mortgages.
None of these have mortgages, because typically what will happen if there's a mortgage company involved, after the first year, the mortgage company will step in and actually
Pay it.
and make sure that it stays in place. I mean, for the cost of what I mean, my own personal opinion would be for the cost of what it takes to actually have another registered letter sent out. I mean, I would think that we would actually send out one more, just to say that the process is actually taking place. I mean, it already has. I mean, it's.
We own
Yeah,
the property
the lien-
legally.
The lien, something that happens automatically. There's nothing that we actually have control over a town when it comes to the idea of an automatic lien when it comes to tax. The idea of the foreclosure process is a different step.
We do have one property on Lisbon Street that is a second home for somebody. They actually rent it out. And that one, the person living there approached me today, but my advice was to let the process take its course, and it'll go up for bid.
Are all these actually more than 2 years out as far as?
Oh, yes.
Some of these are 3 or 4 years out.
Yeah. We have some who owe anywhere from $8,000 to $7,000, $10,000. We have one that's, owes $10,000. That person wants to pay like $50 a week. They'll never catch up.
Yeah, because the taxes actually add up quicker than what
Yeah.
they're paying it off, so.
Every year, it's an unfortunate thing in this economy, but
Have all the registered letters come back signed? Do you know, I mean, have we got returns on all the registered letters in the past?
Yep.
We have, so we know that the people have actually getting.
people haven't received them, yep.
Yep. I guess my recommendation would be, and again, just to make sure that that's in place, is to actually get to send it out again. I know there is a cost there, but just before we get into December and this actually goes into play. That would be really up to council at that point, because I won't be here, but I mean, at least if we actually have a list of returned registered letters that they know the process is in place, and this is actually, we can actually show documentation where, a few months ago, we actually had a registered letter that came back. After the second registered letter, you would have to think that something's gonna happen. The downfall is it's something that's, I mean, it's a process that happens, and, at some point, you do have to address it. 1 year, it can happen. The second year, sometimes you have to start checking in, but if it starts going out 3 or 4 years, you really have to figure out at what point you draw the line. So, I mean, that would be my direction. Does council have any other recommendations of what they would like to see?
Have we tried contacting them by phone, just to make sure that, if they're...
Well, there's one here on the land and buildings that it's a business, and he's in the process of restructuring his loan with AvCog. So I have talked to AvCog, and hopefully we can wrap it all in. And since they're going to be holding the note, they have, well, they have first position, but we still get paid no matter what happens. That's the way it works. But hopefully, maybe they can take care of that, and we can get it off our books and as it paid. But
I mean, I would also recommend possibly for council, when this actually comes forward, maybe it could be a little bit, the list could be a little bit more detailed as how far they are back, multiple years, the amount, and maybe even having Roger come in that evening for the council, just to give them what, legal advice
legal process.
of what other communities
We
are
can
doing.
do
It's
that.
just,
We can
it
do
just-
that possibly during council orientation.
It'd just be nice to actually have some background, and it would be nice also to see if these actually do have water and sewer
Oh,
liens.
some of them are sewer
You know what I
liens.
mean?
Oh, yes.
It'd just be nice to see, because unfortunately, you can see a pattern where, like you say, there's gonna be a non-recoverable, I mean, it's.
I'll bring back
yeah.
the list, like your last meeting on the 19th, with all the pertinent information, but, and we'll just start the
Are
process.
most of these primary homes, or are they businesses, or just pieces
One
of
is a
land?
business,
What else do we have here?
Most of them are primary
It'd be
homes.
kind of nice to at least have that information on the list there, so we
Yeah.
know if it's,
Yeah.
Yep.
primary residence, or a, rental house, or a business, or what.
Just want to bring this to your attention, that we have to start this process, and the worst, what you have in your packets is coming on December 14th, I think is, or 20th, is the maturity date, and that list is quite long.
Do you know when the last time that we dealt with foreclosures were? Did you guys deal with it last year?
I think we dealt with it 2 years ago. We had some, and most of it, we've been working with payment plans, trying to help people, because this is the last thing, this is a last resort. I do not like doing this, but believe me. But what's happening is the rest of your taxpayers are paying for them, and that's, you shouldn't have that.
They're free riders on the system, and if it's not gonna work with us at all, then at some
When
point
they,
you
when
have
they
to do
owe
something.
$6,000 or $7,000, it just makes it harder for them to pay.
Again,
It gets bigger.
I think it's good to note that, I mean, with Jessica, I mean, and the crew, the majority of these 5 pages you see typically do work out some type of agreement where they can actually make a
Afford it.
payment plan
Yep.
to actually come in, and typically it's just, the plan has to be structured in a way that they're actually still moving forward, not falling behind, which
Yep.
is tough if they owe way back. But I mean, I think the town does go over and beyond to actually try to make that work. Since I've been on the council, there's only been very few foreclosures that we've actually processed, and most of the ones that the town's actually had to deal with is when the bank actually forecloses and they just don't want to deal with the property. They basically hand it to the town and say, that's how it's the last couple foreclosures we've actually seen. It wasn't us actually going out and doing legal proceedings.
And believe it or
But-
not, the list that you have here are the ones that are coming up. A lot of these will be
Disappear.
taken care of before because the demand, the notice is going out this week.
Yeah.
So they'll be in here, believe me. This list will diminish quite quickly.
All right.
I wanted to give you a heads up just to show you the number we start with as we get into the mature lien time. It's quite lengthy.
Steve, I noticed, just in looking at this quickly, that I know you said that some of them are as high as $6,000 or $7,000, but there are some that are under 1,000.
Yep.
So, especially the
Yeah,
ones.
those are the ones that we bend over backwards and just
Yeah.
get this cleaned up.
Yeah, okay.
And they usually do. Sometimes it doesn't take a priority until they get that.
Any other questions on this before we move forward? Seeing none, we'll go to the next item, please.
Order 2013-168, Energy Savings Audit Request for Qualifications, RFQ with School Department.
Yep, if you like.
Last Monday, we had a joint workshop with the school department, and Siemens, our HVAC. We share the same one that the school has. They've been excellent to deal with. They came forward with a proposal that they could save us money and be revenue or expense neutral on the energy savings that they could find for us. We could replace and upgrade all our systems to much more energy efficient systems instead of having to do it through capital improvements and all that. So the school and you guys seem to think that was a great idea. We highly recommend it. And I know the school committee is voting on it at their next meeting. They also recommend it. They've already seen the savings on their end because they've been with Siemens a little bit longer, but together, they seem to think that we can find it, and if we don't, they'll write us a check. So you can't beat that.
No. To make this actually move forward, what we need to do is, same thing that the school board's going to do shortly, is actually, if they haven't already, is to actually make a formal, have the council formally move this forward with a vote saying that we do want to do it. And at the time, we were going to actually address having Steve and Ryan actually move forward with the staff to actually work on getting this put together. It is kind of a unique, it's actually kind of a municipality and the school working together on a project, which I think is really exciting. At this point in time.
Address this.
Yeah, if you want to.
The school's required by statute, if they have projects like this, to have certain people on this committee. And this, so it has to be the superintendent of schools and one school committee member have to be on the committee. So Kathy Mesmer got me a sample of that, and it would just make sense, from my perspective as a manager, all these people we could deal with during the day, is that myself and one member from the council, if we could have one member from the council, and then have Ryan Layton work with Daryl, because they're the ones that take care of most of all the buildings. And then Rick asked if we could have one facilities committee member serve and one finance committee member serve on this. So when we get the RFQs back, this committee will go through them and make recommendations who they think they would like to have do this project. So
On a totally different side of this, all of the documentation I've read through, nothing talks about a municipality. Everything talks about a school or the superintendent. Is there anything that does address to the municipality that we are welcome to join this type of program? Everything I've seen is just, it talks about school.
This home rule allows you to do whatever you would like to do as a municipality, as long as it's within the state statutes.
It was within, wasn't it in the recommendations when we first talked to the folks from Siemens?
Yes.
That,
Well, I'm not
that we
saying
would
that
be
they
more
did recommend
likely.
it, but I'm talking about in the state statute when I read it, I didn't see anything about
No.
municipalities being tied in.
Most of the rules are based typically on a school-type setting.
Schools have a lot more rules to follow than we do when it comes to procedural things and how they spend money, because so much of their money comes from the state, so.
And
As long as we're all good.
Yeah, and I think the most important part is, I think actually as a municipality, we could actually look at doing some of the same projects also, but each of us alone really doesn't have enough energy savings to make this project work. It actually is combining both the municipality and the school to actually make this project be actually, make it work and move forward to actually save money for the town as a whole, so. Is that something we actually should take a vote
Yeah,
on?
you have to take a vote to move forward with the RFQ,
Okay.
and then solicit membership counselors.
Actually, entertain a motion to actually move forward with the town for their request for
I'll make that
qualifications.
motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor? And I know that they were pretty excited that moving on this fairly quickly, just so we can try to benefits. And some of the stuff that actually happens at the school is actually a little bit more time-sensitive than what happens in the municipality because of school breaks and things that they can work with. So I guess we'll move forward. Do you want to go through the list? Is there a member of the council that actually wants to
Serve on the committee.
serve on this committee?
I can't, I get too many.
I would serve on it, but I just want to clarify, did you mention that it needs to be, that it's something that everybody would do during the day, or that committee meetings would be at the
It really
normal
depends, once we
evening?
have the committee, I guess how we'd structure it. Most everybody's here during the day except for the counselors and maybe the facility or finance committee members, but
Yep. And one of the,
we'll just do it on Mondays.
yeah, we'll do them.
Well, I would tentatively say that I'd be happy to, so I would do it, but
Tracy wants
if
to.
it needs to change,
I know in the past when we've had meetings like this, especially for the contractors that we chose, interviewed for the improvements of the high school, we did those at night because that's when all the members could be there, and it worked well for the companies that were coming in to answer the interview questions. So that piece of it
Piece
was
would be
done
at night.
at night. Could things change? I don't know, but that's how that was handled the last
Okay.
time we had to do it was an RFP for that, but it's the same process. So,
While you're up, the, part of this list was a finance committee member, and I know Dawn actually had interests, facilities.
is the
It
facility-
all depends. I mean, one of the things that I will not be able to participate as a member of the council, I would possibly be interested in being a member of the facilities. That would mean you would have to be a finance committee, which I guess really doesn't make any difference at all. But I mean, I didn't know if you actually had anybody else that from the facilities committee that was actually showing interest. I mean, to me, it really wouldn't make a difference. I have a little bit of time invested in this process, so I mean, I'd be more than happy to help continue it through, but
Well, I would think that would make the most, I mean, you have been in it and know the situations on both sides. So for experience purposes, I think that would be a good fit.
would you be willing, because Dawn's been there through the whole process also, so if you actually would be the finance committee member, I would be more than happy to participate as a facilities member. You just have to change hats, that's all.
Miss Charlie wants to do it.
Perfect.
I'm open, I mean, whatever.
We can leave it as that, and it may expand as we go forward anyways, if
Yeah.
there's other stuff that comes up, so.
Well, I believe the only time that it is, would be closed anyway would be just the interview process and the choosing, but any other meetings that are held, I believe, are public, so.
Oh, public.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that's the only vote we need. Did we vote on it? I think we did, right? Did we make an official
Yes.
vote? All right.
7-0, yes.
Moving forward then. Next item, please.
Okay. Order 2013-169, supplemental appropriation, first reading. This is a roll call vote.
Yeah, this is, we left the wage adjustments for this year out of the operating budget, so we can negotiate in good faith. And we have come to agreements on all of our union contracts, and the non-union employees already knew what they were getting, because we knew at the time. So this has to be, according to our legal counsel, this has to be handled like an ordinance, so you have to have a first reading, and you should have that document in front of you.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Do you have that number?
Well, the
Yep.
pages aren't
There's no
numbered.
page. It actually just says ordinance on top. I think,
It's right after the
The total
RFQ
dollar
information.
amount is $38,204.
This says 39,925.
Oh, she changed.
yeah, exactly, to actually make,
Okay. That,
so pretty much what we'd do is, we'd entertain a motion for the supplement appropriations of the 39,925, if that's correct. I'd entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Steve, do we have any thing that shows, like, line by line, where money is gonna go, to kind of break it down?
yes, I can get to you that. I actually do
But we
have
don't
it,
have that for tonight?
a copy here.
Oh,
But this is one that Jessica made for me, but I can certainly have her send you a copy of it.
okay.
It's listed by departments,
These are the departments.
just the numbers, so it doesn't list it.
Can you just make sure she sends that to me? Thank you.
Any other questions, discussions prior to moving to vote? Seeing none, this will be roll call.
Okay. Counselor Garrison?
Yes.
Counselor Bickford?
Yes.
Counselor Pesky?
Yes.
Counselor LaRochelle?
Yes.
Counselor Mason?
Yes.
Counselor Lunt?
Yes.
Counselor Ward?
Yes.
Order passed, 7-0.
Want to do a motion to accept the MAP contract, or the sergeant's
Yep.
contract?
Excuse me? You'll need to set a public hearing date for this, too.
For the next one,
Yep,
Is
it'll
that
be the
something-
19th,
it would be the 19th, the next.
our next council meeting.
Also tonight, what I'd like to do is, we did come out of executive session, and we do have a potential to vote as council as accepting the MAP sergeant.
Sergeant's contract.
Sergeant's contract.
I move that we accept the sergeant's contract as it's been discussed by the chief and town manager.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, please.
Other business, town managers report.
On Thursday, I attended the AvCog General Assembly Planning Day, and they do their business meeting. I put in your packets, informational only, but we do pay upwards of $9,000 a year membership, and the information I gave you will show you all the work that they do, and it's quite substantial, and they're quite helpful, and all of us benefit from them. And they're going through the same crunches, and they're down to a very small crew of people. I hope you all got a chance to read the paper on Sunday and the article on the Rumble Mill. Catherine Skelton was the reporter. She did a nice job for us, and it's, hopefully had some influence on people.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Update on the Unitel. They're moving forward on that. They're going to be running gas from 196 up School Street to the MTM Center and Campus Commons, and also looking to run it up Main Street on from the business community up to the church that's being modified there on on the corner of High. And I have to work on them to further and hopefully extend it and stub it off so people eventually will spread it into other parts of the city and the town. What else? That's all I have. Oh, we need committee members. I have had discussions with the rec committee, staff person, Mark Stevens, and I also met today with Verla Brooks, and they're having problems getting people to the Conservation Committee meetings. Last meeting the Conservation had last month, nobody showed up. Everybody's very busy, even though she's sending out notifications. Anybody who's interested in serving on those committees and doing the work that needs to be done, please let us know in my office. See Jody. Also, Mark Stevens said the rec committee, they didn't have a quorum last night. You were there?
Yeah, I was there. They do have 2 spots open, and we had a chance to just sort of informally discuss that. And they are looking specifically, because the rec committee has programs, everything from preschool to senior programs, that they'd like to have representation from the senior side of the community on the rec committee, so that they have a little more representation. Of course, any parents in town who are able to have their kids in any of the programs, everything from, last night I listened to updates on cheering and the ice rink and the Moxie bike race, and it's a really interesting committee, and it's fun to go to the meetings, and I highly recommend it. If I weren't on this board, I would probably be on that one, because especially since I've learned more about it. So I would recommend that anyone who's interested in any of the activities in town. It's fun. It's a fun committee to be on.
That's all I have.
We have 2 openings on the assessment review board also.
Okay, thank you.
Next item, please.
Appointments, none. Counselor Communications.
Who wants to go first? All good?
I'll just continue my
Yeah, rec speech.
Yeah, because I was really excited to hear that there's a Moxie bike ride being planned now, and bike rides are really popular. We see them everywhere, from the Beach to Beacon and the Dempsey Challenge. There are lots of different things that used to just be foot races or focused on foot races, now include bike rides, not bike races, we now know. There's a lot of good stuff going on. The high school civic action group is going to work on updating the ice rink, so they'll, weather permitting and ice permitting this year, we hope to have an ice rink. And just on that cheering update, I think that was a really wonderful surprise. The folks on the rec committee knew that there was interest in cheering, and they had huge numbers of girls sign up, and it seems to be going very well, and it's really good for the young people who are involved, and evidently, we have the extreme good fortune to have excellent coaches. So, all things considered, that it was a great meeting. And then also, Mark said that they have officials trainings, so that, so when Lisbon has athletic events, we can provide our own officials, and but you have to go through training, so all good stuff in that direction. And I had the opportunity today, after voting, to volunteer at the Friends of the Library table selling raffle tickets. I bought some, I probably won't win, but they do a lot of really good work for the library too, so that's.
Good deal. Anything else?
Moxie is moving along. We're in the planning stages, and soon we'll be announcing our theme contest. I'm not sure exactly when that is, but we have a 100-piece marching band coming from the Midwest this year. It's a high school. It's a combination of high schools. It's a Lutheran high school, and they're coming. They were here back in 2001. They're coming again this year, and we're going to be needing some help. We're going to need businesses and individuals to volunteer time and money and meals and those kinds of things. So we're working all of that out right now. We're trying to find them a place to stay, which will probably be a gym somewhere in town. But they're real excited about coming. They want to have a little bit of Maine flavor, and Moxie will definitely do that for them. So they'll be coming. And also, and I could be mistaken, but I believe Very Merry Main Street is December 7th. Is it the 7th?
It's coming up soon.
Okay,
It's
all
gonna
right.
be-
I couldn't remember, and I haven't really talked with Ross, but Very Merry Main Street is the 7th or the 15th, but I believe it's the 7th. And those of you that haven't gotten out to it, it's always a really good time. It's downtown Lisbon Falls is up and running for the night, and I know that Fern's business has sponsored the horses before. There are other businesses that have different other things going on. Some may have cookies and hot chocolate. I know Drake Booth has had some women singing in there before. Some of the other places have wine and cheese tastings and a bunch of other things happening. So it's a good time for those of us that remember when Main Street and what is now Village Street were alive, back when we were just little lads and laddies, I guess. And it just comes alive for the night, and it's always fun. So just be watching for that. And that's all I have.
Mark, you have anything?
Well, I would like to say congratulations to Jessica for doing a really great job on improving the quality control in that office there and really getting our finances in much better shape than they used to be. I think it's definitely an area we have seen big improvement, and good job, Jessica. Keep up the good work.
And I think it goes along with the rest of the staff also that's working
Oh,
with her.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
And
Yep.
everyone in that office, and
It's a big team approach for this, for sure.
I'll just second on that to the whole town office team for the audit, and then, really bringing it up to where we need to be and moving us forward.
Good deal. Just to add a couple things, we're in November now, so it's always the time of the year where all the things start happening. And we start looking at the cold weather and all the people in town that probably don't have the benefits other people do. So the town actually does participate in quite a few different activities to help the less fortunate in town. We actually help sponsor and work on a dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, that actually is more done by volunteers in the town. And as always, I know the town's actually asking and requesting for people and for donations to actually help that happen. If you haven't been, I know there's quite a few members of the council that's actually gone and helped served, and it's always pretty enlifting to see the people coming in and the people that you see every day that come in and enjoy the dinner. It does serve quite a few. The other thing will be the giving tree again this year. It's, as trying times go, it's trying for everybody, but if you can actually just kind of think about these things moving forward, there's a lot of good things. We are planning and working with PLC to actually try to make the Merry Main Street a hit again this year. If anybody has any interest in participating or helping with that, there's always volunteers necessary. If we can just order that, 31 degrees with light snow flurries and all the good stuff, that would be
first year.
perfect, but typically we don't get that. Usually it's, the real cold, but we did one year, right? It was like just nice,
It was like the first year, I
first
think.
year.
light
Last
snow
year
flurries,
was-
and it was like 31, 30
last year was
degrees, so.
freezing. Last year was so cold.
Yeah, the below zero and the wind chill, that's no fun at all. But anyways, they always do a good presentation. If you get downtown and you get to visit the businesses, it's actually fun. You can pop in different places, and if you don't eat first, you're in trouble because you have too many donuts and chocolate milk and hot chocolate and cookies and soup, yeah.
Cider.
It's a good time. There is a horse ride typically that will go through the downtown, and it's just interesting. It's just kind of what our downtown really ought to be about. Just on another note, we actually got an email as councilors from someone that actually got stopped by the police, and it was actually a good one. Kudos to Chief and his staff for this. Chief's looking like he doesn't know anything about it, but
Yes, he does. McGee?
stopping a tractor-trailer truck.
Oh, he may be.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's probably not real earth-shattering. It's not like a bank robbery that we solved or something, but it's always nice to actually get a good email from our officers in town that when they stop people, it is for safety. And this was actually a tractor-trailer truck that I guess didn't have its rear door latched, and it was one of those stops that probably saved them quite a bit of money. So again, it's just nice to actually get some feedback that actually is positive, and we do have a good staff out there protecting
That was nice.
citizens of town and people going through. So again, let that be said. And if there's nothing else, we'll actually move forward.
Next item is Order 2013-171 to adjourn for workshop.
Entertain that motion?
I move that we adjourn.
Second it?
All those in favor? And we would be going directly into a workshop that probably won't be too late. When do we find out about the election? When does that close? I mean,
8 o'clock, the
our
polls
machines
close.
are like instant.
Any minute now.
I think
Right?
so.
Any minute now.
6 minutes.
And the new machines tell you which voter you were. I was number 8 at MTM.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to
How
that.
do you want to do this workshop?
772.
I was
Well, I
number 8.
just think
Number 8.
there's only.
I was there quite